Yo, no one? Oh, it's cold. How's it going, buddy? Oh, Nathali is alright. How's everybody doing? Hello!
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Sharon? Yeah, I can. Yes. Can you hear me as
Okay,
well?
amazing. I can hear you as well. Good evening or good afternoon. How's your day been?
Uh, it's been good. It's been good. To be quite honest, I'm nervous every time I do this. I get really nervous
You'll be fine. You'll
because
be
it's,
fine. I'll guide you through it.
yes, please.
You'll be fine. But Nathali, just to start things off, I just want to say thank you for making the time to come, even though you were nervous about doing this. I'm super, super happy to have you here because I consider you my friend. We worked together on the I Survive campaign for Story Behind the Smile, but she's also been a mental health advocate for a very, very long time. She wrote a book called Naked and Exposed, which spoke a lot about her mental health journey as well. So I'm very, very honored to have someone like you who's spoken on multiple panels about your mental health journey to normalize the situation more and more. And I think we're cracking at it at this point. So, Nathali, thank you for joining us. To get things started, tell us all about you. Tell us where you come from and your journey.
Okay, first of all, before I start on anything, let me just tell you, I've got to salute you, man. You've been talking to so many people for so many days. The difficult part of it is kind of listening to everyone and absorbing all the stories while you have so much going on for yourself as well. So I know it's really straining you mentally and physically, but you've been doing it continuously. For me, this whole situation is kind of draining me, but I don't know how you do it, but this is just amazing, and you're just amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm
Where to
glad you're here.
start? Um, and I'm actually glad I got to know you through your campaign, which you introduced. So thank you so much for making me a part of that and this. Um, to start off, let me tell you a bit about myself. For those who have no idea about me, I'm an author and I'm also a filmmaker. By profession, I'm a filmmaker and a writer. Well, to start off, I guess people started knowing my story when I published my book in 2017. It's called Naked and Exposed. It's a very short memoir about my experiences. And hello to everyone who has joined in. Thank you so much for joining in. Well, to start off, okay. So currently, I am on medication uh, for depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, and dissociative disorder. But it all started when I was a kid. But I do kind of have memories starting from the age of 7. I guess I had my first hallucination when I was 7. I remember we had a painting of Mona Lisa at home, and we had like a little mini fish pond, and every time I passed it, I would see Mona Lisa laughing at me. You know, that sarcastic smile, that laughter. And I didn't know what it was back then, so I kind of I don't know if it was ignorant, whether I ignored it or I let it kind of, let that grow up with me. I didn't share it with anybody up until I was 18. Yeah, I was 18 when I first attempted suicide. Even then, I guess, because our parents, they come from a different generation. They don't have the kind of awareness that we have right now. Before I forget, I need to add in this that we live in a generation where we can't make excuses. For example, everybody knows everything about the coronavirus, so equally people should know everything about mental health as well. So what really happened was, after I attempted suicide when I was 18, I attempted it many a times, the last attempt being just 3 months ago. uh, I had severe hallucinations for years. See, the thing about, I always want to speak the truth when it comes to my experiences. there is a light at the end of a tunnel for a lot of people. I do truly believe that. But in my case, that tunnel is so damn long. But, you get little bits of cracks here and there from the tunnel where the light kind of, travels in. So I have a bit of hope here and there. So I'm holding on to the bit of hope that I have, and I'm not going to give up. So, yeah, you can ask me anything. This is a very difficult topic to talk about, but
Of course. So I'll branch off of this. I'll basically firstly I'm just proud of you for speaking out openly about all of these things. It couldn't have been easy, but I know for a fact that you're helping other people out there, the people who are watching now, the people who are watching who are going to watch this later, and in the future, the people who follow you as well. But if I have to branch off and ask a question, I'd ask you, um, how important is it, like you said, information right now, no one can make an excuse. The information is there. People can educate themselves about mental health. Again, mental health is not like you and I have experienced suicide attempts. You and I have experienced depression, panic attacks. Sometimes it's not any of those. Sometimes it can be just mild anxiety. It can be loneliness. It can be insecurity. It can be so many of those things that can result in mental health as well.
yeah.
So I just want to know from you, why is it so important for people to reach out and get help? So, for example, when I went for therapy, after she assessed me in the first 3 sessions, she was just like, Sharon, I don't think you need medication. You just need someone to listen to you and what you're going through, and will work through your problems and how to manage your time so that you don't get overwhelmed and you make these decisions. So, why is it so important for people to reach out in this day and age with so much going on around the world?
Well, let me kind of answer your question by drawing a bit of experiences from my side as well. See, it has not been easy. This whole situation has not been easy for me, only because, imagine the amount of people who are stuck at home with abusive partners, abusive parents, and those who doesn't have access to their mental health services, those who have no idea that psychiatrists exist in this country. There is a group of people like that as well. So it's so important, because I started experiencing my first symptoms of depression, and I was diagnosed with schizophrenia as well in 2014. But the crazy bit is that I was diagnosed after over 20 years. So it's so important that people have access to this, because we have lost so many lives. And the society, they write up so many theories on, oh, they're so weak, they give up so easily. But they fail to understand that a lot of people attempt suicide because they can't take the pain anymore. The reason why I attempted suicide 3 months ago, or all the other 8, 9, 10 times I attempted, is because I couldn't take it anymore. Not because I wanted to die, not because I wanted to leave my family, but because I couldn't take it anymore. And not a lot of people understand that, and not a lot of people want to understand that. So it's important that we understand people. It's so important that we save a life, just as much as we are trying so hard to save lives during this pandemic. On a daily basis, we need to work really hard to understand people and save lives. So I don't know if I answered your question, but for me, it's very important. See, growing up, I felt like two different people were growing up within me. For me, kindness and love was so important as a child, but I felt, though, growing up, that one part of me felt really violent. And I was always angry, and I was always, I was also bullied for a very long time, uh, both in school and at my workplace. So for me, it was important. So it was really difficult for me to kind of fight those violent thoughts. Since I have obsessive compulsive disorder, it's really difficult for me to kind of deviate from these thoughts. There were days and months where I would only think about harming my family, whereas my biggest strength and my biggest support has been my husband and my family. So for me, it was really difficult to fight those thoughts, because for me it was always important being kind. So even when I wrote the book, a lot of people bullied me. They wrote to me and said, oh, you're a little princess, you've got everything, you're so privileged, you've got this and that. With mental health, there is nothing whatsoever. Like, just because you're privileged doesn't mean that there is a possibility that you can, suffer from a mental health condition. And people think that you need to have solid problems like, maybe financial situations or with the poverty or whatever. It's not true. Sometimes there doesn't have to be, like, there's no reason whatsoever. And sometimes you probably wake up feeling not like yourself. So, yeah, I hope I answered your question. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you did.
keep,
You did. I love it. You're giving us more information, which is very, very important. Like I think the biggest most important thing is everyone suffers from mental health. Just
yeah,
because you are born rich or have privilege or everything taken care of you does not mean that you don't suffer with some sort of mental health. Sometimes you can be the richest person in the world, everything is sorted out, but you're just not happy, and
yeah,
that leads for you making being in this dark place in your thoughts or making decisions that are irreversible. There's so many people like that, right? And I think it's you that information is so important to bring it out. And I'm really sorry that you were, well, not sorry, but like I'm proud of you that you still pushed through the bullying and all of those things and still wrote your book. And just to come back to the question, I was just asking, in terms of social stigma and all those things, how important is it for someone to reach out and ask for help?
okay, so it's really important. The reason why I do what I do, I also speak in Sinhala most of the time whenever I can, because I feel like there's a big void in that space as well. That there's not a lot of people who speak in Sinhalese and kind of try to convey this message. So I do that whenever I can. So it's so important because sometimes when you're suffering from mental health conditions, whether you suffer or not, people are so afraid to share how they feel because of the stigma. And just because sometimes their families don't understand, their friends don't understand, they're under the impression that nobody understands. But the beauty of this is, once you start sharing your story, there are some people out there who will understand you and who will try to help you. That's why it is so important that you need to share this story, and you need to kind of know that there are people like you and me and so many others who want to kind of, maybe we won't be able to help them on a professional level because, we're not experts at that. But of course, we can talk them through it. We can, guide them to professional services. We can share, it's just a lot of people do not know that because of the stigma. Even I didn't know. So I didn't want to share about how I felt it. I remember when I used to work, I had so much of bullying there. I used to get down at this random pharmacy in Ratnalana, if I remember. Yeah, in Ratnalana. And I used to just buy about 20 sleeping tablets. I would just drink it at once and go to work. So I know I'll be numb the whole day. And I did this for like 3 months continuously. I would just buy random medication, and this pharmacy wouldn't ask you for prescriptions. They'll keep on handing you all kinds of medication. And I kept taking them every day only because, I didn't want to kind of feel whatever that I was going through at work. So I wish I spoke to someone at work, would have really helped me. I would have, there was one attempt where I really, really suffered. I had to be hospitalized, and they had to really work hard. But I wish I spoke to someone. I wish I spoke to my mom. I wish I spoke to my husband, my sisters, which I didn't do. I kind of let it sit with me, and I suffered through it. So whatever you do, whatever that I do, and a lot of other people do, I hope this message gets across, because it's so important that you speak to someone. Because sometimes you don't like to believe it, and I understand you, and I'm with you 100%, but there is help out there. And if you really have a conversation, sometimes that small conversation might be the gateway to light.
Absolutely. And I think also the biggest fear that some people have is judgment when they do reach out. But the thing is, long term, just think about long term, this affects you and affects you, and you keep sweeping it under the rug, you sweep it on the rug, and
Of
one day
course.
you just implode, right? You hurt all the people you thought were going to judge you, right?
Mm.
You basically, because they will come up to you and be like, why didn't you tell us, right?
Yeah, yeah,
If you really think, if you're in that position where your parents are extremely judgmental, where you're scared for your life as to what they might do or say, if you even have close friends, like even use them to just talk to someone. Because the moment, for me personally, the moment I spoke to my counselor, and the moment I was able to relate, and she was understanding what I was saying, and she was relating my problems to certain aspects of my life, and she was giving me solutions that I could use in my life because she understood me as a person, helped volumes, volumes, because you have to at least talk about it to normalize the situation. If you don't normalize it, like what you and I are doing right now, is we're
Yeah,
normalizing mental health, right?
of course,
So as
yeah.
soon as you talk to someone, if it's your friend, if it's a therapist, if it's a counselor, if it's your parents, the moment you get some sort of support saying, I hear you, right?
Yeah,
I'm with
yeah.
you right now. I hear you, and I'm with you as a friend right now. They won't be able to physically make you feel less, right?
Mm,
But the thing is, they're there to listen. And when someone's listening to you, that alleviates the pain so much. At the end of the day, it's still you who has to deal with it. They are not
of
going to
course.
give you
Mm,
this medication that's going to fully recover you and all of those things. It has to
mm.
come from you, right? And this is where I want to segue and ask you as well, Nathali. Obviously, you've had a good support system. Your husband has been, I've met him personally as well. He's been a rock star in like looking after you. You've had your support system at home. But how did you really action it? Because if it didn't come from you, you couldn't have made the progress that you have because you still slip, just like me. I still slip,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But how do you personally have that strength within to action it?
Okay, to tell you the truth, before I say that, I did see Bhagya. She had said that the hardest thing to do is to talk to people, because you kind of want to protect people, from, you don't want to kind of burden them with your problems. Sometimes that is the reason. I know the hardest thing is it's really difficult to talk to people because whatever said and done, it's you who feel whatever you're feeling, and however you share it with someone with the use of words or whatever, you have that fear that someone's not going to understand you 100%. And just to get back to your question, um, see, for me, ever since I was a kid, I was kind of trying to fight what I felt, right? I was always fighting it, and I was kind of trying to figure out what is this up until very recently. And I'm like, this shouldn't happen to me. This shouldn't happen to me. I should fight it. And I was so confused. There was a time where I used to think that my husband used to look at me through a crystal ball. And so I would stay at home, dress nice, make sure that, that I'm dressed nice. And, I would sit nicely because he's monitoring me through one of those crazy crystal balls. So, I used to go through phases like that as well. And I thought people were peeping through the wall, that they were looking at me, that there were cameras everywhere, someone's monitoring me 24/7. So I was always really worried about. I still am sometimes. Sometimes when I keep the phone, I'm constantly repeating the phone conversation in my head. Now I know I'm gonna do the same with this live as well. I'm gonna finish this live, go back, and I'm gonna be thinking, okay, did I say this right? Did I sound stupid? Okay, I sounded stupid. So I would give. So how I came out of it, and not that I came out of it, but how I learned to live with it, is by accepting it. I identified what I had, and I was so fixed on the thought that I'm going to get, like, finish it. Either I'm going to suicide, I'm going to find a solution, I'm going to take medication, and I'm going to be all right. But that's not the truth for me. Can be the truth, someone else's truth, but it was not for me. So what I did was I identified my symptoms, and I accepted it. I kind of realized, okay, this is going to be my life. It's okay. And I also used a lot of humor to come out of it. I sometimes laugh at the things that I feel. you know um, as a kid, I used to have a lot of bathroom soliloquies. I know a lot of people sing in bathrooms. I know a lot of people dance, do all that. But for me, the case was very different. It was very realistic. I would, sit at TV shows. I would, have speeches. I would have live sessions. I would have interviews. Then I would hear voices, people, offending me, bullying me, this and that. And it was very real for me. That's a problem with my dissociative disorder, where I kind of drift away from reality. But then I kind of called it my bathroom soliloquies, and I kind of accepted, and I started having fun with it. You get it? So it's
Yeah.
acceptance that really helped me. I accepted it, and I'm like, okay, this is it. when people have diabetes or any other kind of physical illness, they accept it, right? They're not going to be like, oh my god, I don't want this, so I'm just going to kill myself. They don't do that. You take medication and you try to have a healthy diet and you do all that. So it's the same with mental health for me. Okay, this is going to be lifetime for me. I'm 30 years old now, and I've been battling with it for almost as long as I can remember. So what I did was just kind of accepted it, and this is going to be my life. But it's okay, it's all right not to be okay. Sometimes I'll feel really good, sometimes I'll feel really bad. I'll probably be mad at you for no reason, I'll probably want to kill you, that's the truth. But I'll be back to myself. So I've kind of learned how to live with whatever that I felt. It's so difficult, took me a lot of time to kind of master it, but yeah.
Amazing. And just to add to that, I think acceptance and awareness of what you're going through is the
Very true.
hardest thing. Because sitting with your thoughts and really digging deep within is the hardest step, but it's also the first step. So
Mm,
even me, when I went for counseling, I realized when I was having these panic attacks, even when I was at my even when I was at my best, right? It still it still happens, right? And I just talked to myself, okay, Sharon, this is going to be a part of my life for the rest of my life. But my counselor has helped me figure out how to deal with these panic attacks as they come, right?
mm,
So, like,
mm,
at one point, I couldn't breathe or like struggle to breathe, like, because a panic attack feels like a heart attack, right? So, I struggled to breathe for like a straight, like, 30 minutes. And then when I learned to deal with it more, it reduced to 25 minutes, then 20 minutes,
mm,
then 50 minutes. It wasn't that time, but like approximately, right? I got better at dealing with it. The more you are self-aware, the more you accept it, the easier it is to get through it. And
mm,
just to go back to Bhagia's question, Bhagya, you basically said some people think that you're just seeking for attention, basically.
mm.
If your friends think you're seeking for attention about talking to your mental health, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to be very straight with you. You need new friends. You need new friends who understand you as a person. And if you think you still want to hold on to your friends, then you need to talk to a professional who can actually help you and listen to you about what you're going through. That's what I would say. Because I have stripped away friends who didn't understand my life and who I was as a person, and I'm a lot better for it. What do you think about that, Nathalie, when it comes to people not understanding the position that you're in? Does it cause like a toxic environment in your head?
It does. Okay. So what really happened to us? I don't have a lot of friends now. You know, that's what you should be doing. You don't need to surround yourself with a lot of people. You need to kind of be around people, not just because they don't necessarily have to understand you 100%, but just be supportive. Just not trigger you. Not have. You shouldn't be around a toxic environment where people are. Nobody's going to be able to understand you 100%. Nobody should trigger you either for it. Like I said, this is a generation where we can't make excuses. All the information, everything is available. There are people like you and me and a lot of other people out there who's talking about this. I've seen a lot of people who share stories of celebrities who have committed suicide. So you have understanding of it. You can't say that you don't know what it is. It's crazy. When I started sharing my stories, a lot of people wrote to me, and what they told me was, when you speak on TV or when you speak on these forums, my parents are so proud. My family says, look at that girl, she's doing so well. But the minute I start speaking out, they get terrified and they don't want you to do that. And that's crazy. It's always someone else's story that you're always, proud of or you appreciate. But the moment when it's your story, nobody wants to accept it, especially your loved ones. It's the case for most of the people. Like, they don't want to accept it when it doesn't necessarily have to be with just mental health. Even when it comes to divorce or anything else, people don't want to accept it. Like, if it's your friend or if it's some celebrity, you'll be like, oh, they're getting divorced, I feel for her, I feel for him, this and that. But when your sister comes and tells you, or your mother or whoever comes and tells you that they want to go for a divorce, everyone's like really panicked about it, and they don't want you to go through it. They want you to work out. Even if it's an abusive marriage, they'll be like, no, you've got to work through this, you've got to stick, and you've got to make sure that we don't have to answer people. You get it? So the minute affecting you, people want you to shut up. That's the truth. So you, even if it's your family, sadly, you need to kind of deviate, like stay away from people as such. The minute you cut down on people like that, you'll start feeling better. That's how I started feeling better, you know. You don't necessarily need to surround yourself with a lot of people. And yeah, that's my answer to that question, Bhagya. I've known Bhagya for a very long time. We've been friends for over 15 years now. And I know her, and you know, she's this amazing, kind-hearted person. Uh, and that is the reason why she's wherever she is right now, because she's so kind, and people kind of take advantage out of you when you're so kind. And you know, that's what happened to Bhagya. So uh, I believe that she can get through this, because you know her intentions are always right. Just like you, your objective of doing this is not to gain some kind of, you know, not to have views or follows, or you know, I know that, because you know, if you want to do that, you would have done something else and not really touched on subjects and you know, topics that's gonna affect you as well mentally, because you're gonna have to kind of absorb all the other stories from a lot of other people. So yeah, cut down on people who are not going to kind of, you know, be you know, spread some kindness around you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And just to add to that as well, Bhagya, or whoever's listening or whoever listens to this later, kindness is also, I learned this the hard way. Right now, you are being kind of an empty cup. Kindness
Hmm.
also means filling your own cup, right? It's also being kind to yourself. And that also means cutting out people, family, friends, partnerships, relationships, it doesn't matter what. Kindness
Hmm.
also means cutting out the people who are not adding to the solution of your life. Cutting out
Hmm.
doesn't mean that you completely stop talking to your parents and all that stuff, but you can
Exactly.
be smart about it. You can be smart about how often you hang out with them, what topics you
Set
bring up that
boundaries.
don't
Yeah.
trigger exactly that don't trigger certain and you can actually have a open conversation saying, please don't talk about these topics with me anymore because it triggers certain things in me and I don't want to have that. I want to love you for who you are. So let's not talk about these topics, right?
Oh,
So you can
so
always
true.
draw those lines. You can always draw those lines. And if they're not understanding, then you take more drastic measures, right? But the thing is, the more you use communication and the more that you're kind to yourself, like I preach about kindness all the time, but I don't
Hmm.
want you to be kind to the extent that it hurts you, you know? Like I've taken breaks off Instagram. I care about the people who follow me on Instagram like they're my own family. But I have to realize that if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of like anyone else, you know? And I learned that the hard way, right? So
Yeah.
even when I was in previous relationships and all that stuff, I used to pour out of an empty cup like it was madness, you know. But that
Mm-hmm.
affected my mental health like crazy. So please, 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 the same kindness that you're giving other people, give to yourself as well. There has to be a balance. There has to be, like you said, boundaries set apart. And people should not add to the problem ever, ever. Especially when it comes to mental health, because you already are at a point where everything is hurting.
Yeah.
Literally every aspect of your life is hurting, and you don't need other people coming in hurting you more
Mm.
mentally. If that makes sense. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah. It's the absolute truth. You know, when you have mental health conditions, it does not only hurt you mentally, crazily, it hurts you physically as well. You're exhausted. You know, it really drains you, and you don't want someone coming in. You know, the crazy part about this is sometimes you're not aware of this, but you know, a lot of people are going through this, right? And sometimes when you're in your how would I put it, when you're in your dark spot or you're in your little universe, you kind of don't not that you do it intentionally, but you kind of fail to see what other people are going through as well. It happens. And sometimes when all of, you know, when everyone's going through that, and when you're in such a toxic environment, you know, you kind of, you know, destroy each other's lives. So that's why it's important to kind of take a break and breathe, and this is the perfect time to do that, you know. You just got to take a break, and you kind of need to breathe, and you kind of need to understand people, understand yourself. You know, this is perfect timing, especially for us, because you know, a lot of people are constantly running. They don't have time to read, they don't have you know, they just scroll through social media and look up for, you know, news, and that's about it. They don't want to really go through stories, and so this is the perfect time to read some books, watch some movies, kind of indulge in good music, classical music, get into painting, do whatever, and kind of tap into your story and stories of all the other people, and it will make it so much easier to understand everyone, and to kind of live in a universe where it's easier for you and easier for others as well. So you need to always remember, when you speak to someone, especially when this, I noticed this, when you speak to people who are delivering food to us, right? So whenever I speak to them, I kind of imagine, like, they're sacrificing their time with their families, their life, and they're doing this for us to make sure that we eat, right? And imagine the kind of emotional, the physical toll that it takes on them. So whenever I crack like the silliest joke, they laugh out for like a minute because they need it. So you got to always remember that you need to, just like you expect everyone to be kind to you, you need to be kind to others as well, because you can never say what, not a lot of people are going to be open like you and me. They're just going to put on this face that they're all okay. Sometimes they might come as off cocky and like they're all okay. But that's why it's important that uh, we have to kind of, the kindness we expect from others, you need to kind of give that back, and the world will be so much better.
Absolutely, and I think that's why the whole campaign, the story behind the smile, was to show that a lot of people don't talk about issues as openly as us. There's a lot of
Yeah,
people who smile, they make other people happy, they deliver food, but there's so much going on behind the scenes, and you have to be empathetic in those situations. And on top of that, I just want to add the thing that you said where you're hurting each other, like it's such a toxic relationship that you might be having with your friends and your family. The
yeah.
worst part is when it's toxic and it's normal. That's the worst part. So when you're in
Mm,
a toxic relationship with your partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, family, friends, and it's normal to be in that situation because you're so used to
exactly.
it, right?
Yeah,
So the most important thing is detach from that and really look, like that's when introspection comes into play, right? Really look at yourself and be like, am I actually happy with these people? Are they
mm,
making me happy with my thoughts? Like, do I get to
mm,
express what I'm actually feeling with them? Do I get to talk about my loneliness? Do I get to talk about my depression? Do I get to talk about what went through at work that made me feel violated? There's so many things that if you don't have that relationship with them and you think it's normal that they bully you for it every time you bring it up,
exactly.
you really need to take a step back and like reevaluate the situation. So I think that, and definitely treat other people with kindness, but not with a glass empty, but always be empathetic towards other people as well.
Exactly.
Natalie, we have spoken about some amazing things. To be honest, like I think this is why people have you on panels and all those things, because you really can articulate what you're saying so well. Like you can
Thank you
really
so much.
articulate and really hit the nail on the head. To be very honest, so I want to ask you one more thing.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that are being bullied at school, or they could be being bullied at work, that right at that moment it seems normal for them, but it scars them for the rest of their life. Like me, when I was bullied, it's like those memories are still with me. The one of the reasons I
Mm,
don't celebrate my birthday and it's not even publicly available is because I was bullied. So
mm,
what would you say if you had a chat with one of those people who are being bullied right now?
yeah.
What would you tell them?
Okay. Seriously, back then I was such a fragile person. I am still, but not to the extent that I was back then. One, I was bullied for my skin color when I was in school. I was 10 times darker than this shit. And up until now, what you said was so true. It scars you because I grew up, and I still do think, that I don't look good. I'm not happy with the way I look because people have made me believe that for so many years. You don't look good, you look like this, you look like that, you don't look like you belong to this family. Your sisters, you don't look like you belong with your sisters. So I've been said that a lot of times. So I've actually, that thought has instilled, and it came to a point where I actually truly believed in it. And sometimes it's so difficult to kind of get over that. Then I remember when I started working, a lot of people bullied me because sometimes I was the only girl on the team. I was a producer. So I kind of faced a lot of situations like that where they made me stand for months. They wouldn't give you a place to sit. They would make you stand and say that there's no place to sit. So they did a lot of things like that to me. And it came to such a point where it got so bad. I used to self-medicate. Like I said before, I used to drink all kinds of things and just go to work. And then I would come back home and probably, drink whatever that was lying around at home as well. And I didn't know what I was drinking only because I wanted to pass out. So if someone was coming to me and telling me about how, about their stories with bullying, and if they are currently being bullied, all I can tell you is, there are quotes where everyone says, they are bullying you because they think you're so better at this, that they don't realize this, and, they are insecure, this and that. Nothing's going to make you feel better sometimes. People can share all those quotes. But the truth is that, the only thing I can tell you is sometimes a lot of people have told me, don't think about it, don't indulge in it so much, just look away. Don't tell that to someone who has OCD. Like for me, someone tells me something, I'll probably think about it for the rest of my life. I'll be like, okay, this person said that to me, so it's true, and you're believing in that. The only advice I can give you is try to stay away from people like that as much as possible. I can't preach something that even I find hard to practice. For me, it's still difficult to kind of, forget a lot of things people have told me. A lot of things people have said over and over and over again. So you need to kind of try and stay away from whether it's a marriage or whether it's, like I said, family members, friends, workplace. Someone's bullying you at work, leave. I didn't do that. I got a bit too late to do that. Just leave. Even if it means that you're going to, okay, let me tell you a story. If you think, okay, leaving work is not so easy and you're going to be financially, not stable, that's okay. I have 0 rupees in my bank account right now. I don't have a job. I'm not employed, but I'm working really hard to start something on my own. Okay, that's the truth. I'm going to make my film. I'm going to do something, and it's possible. I've always believed that I can't do anything because a lot of people made me believe that you're not capable of doing this. You have this mentality, you're so sensitive, you're so fragile, you cry, you do this and that. Because of that, I want to do something and tell them, no, just because you have all these things, you still can do something. You get it? So if you're in a family, where people, your family members are bullying you, or your friends are bullying you, or you're in a workplace, wherever, just stay away. You can't, like Bhagya says, you can't ask people not to think about it. Whether you have a mental health condition or not, you'll still think about it. You get it? Someone says something, you'll still think about it. So the best is to kind of try and stay away from people like that. And there are situations where sometimes you can't stay away from people like that, like, because we live in certain situations where we can walk away, but there are people who cannot walk away, sometimes because they have children and they can't walk away, which I think is really sad, because a lot of marriages in Sri Lanka, they decide to stay back because of the children. But I would truly believe if you walk away, it will be good for you and your children as well. But yeah, just like that, if you're in a situation where you can't walk away, if you feel like you can't resign right now, or you feel like, you need to, maybe you're surviving in a house with your family because you're not financially stable and you have nowhere to go and you've got to stay in that house, then you got to draw your boundaries. This is going to kind of connect back to the conversation we had before. So sometimes you can't stop bullies. Sometimes you can't expect people to change. So like Michael Jackson said, just look in the mirror, be the change. And, you don't try to change people who are never going to change. Just take control of your life and just stay away. That's going to help you so much if you stay away. That has helped me so much, immensely. And for me, I think that has been one major reason why I'm able to kind of sit and share this story, because I've managed to stay away from a lot of people who have hurt me so much.
Amazing, amazing, and I think I completely agree with you, Nathalie. I have taken enough of your time. We've had a beautiful conversation around mental health, and I think we've helped at least one person today. I just want to say from me, thank you so much for coming into my life and agreeing to be a part of the campaign, and beyond that for surviving. Like seriously, thank you so much for surviving, and thank you so much for continuing to talk about these things. I'm sure it's not easy to continue to talk about it. Like personally, when I keep talking about it, it tires me out. So I'm sure it's not easy to talk about. But I just want to say thank you, and I'm proud of you. You've already answered what kindness is, so I'm not going to ask you that again. But you have personally been kind to me by giving your house to do the photo shoot, taking care of us on that day, coming on this live show. So thank you so much. Before you go, I'd like you to just tell people where they can find you on social media, any future projects like your film that you want people to stay tuned for, and yeah, any final thoughts.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Sharon, for having me on this, and thank you so much for whatever you're doing. Just like you said, I honestly can't do what you do. I'll probably jump off. I'll probably jump off from somewhere if I had to do what you do. Like, listen to people speak and share all kinds of stories every day. So you're amazing. Honestly, you are amazing. Thank you so much for that. But yes, if anybody wants to speak, I've even written it in my book. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Just write to me. I have a lot of people who write to me about their stories. You can write to me in Sinhalese, you can write to me in English. It doesn't matter. If you want to write to me in Tamil, that's okay. I'll get someone to translate. Just write to me, and I know I can't provide you professional advice, but I will definitely guide you through it and try to direct you to some kind of professional services. And but yeah, I'll share my story as well, and I really hope that I can at least help one person. Like you said, I know you've helped a lot of people. I usually don't follow each and every person I see on Instagram, but I've only done that if I see that it can have impact on me as well, and you've done that. And it's not easy to kind of have an impact like that, because you get a lot of people who do this for the wrong reasons as well. So thank you so much, Sharon. And also, yes, I'm working on my first my debut feature film. It's again on mental health. It'll feature a lot of people. This is going to be a lot of characters. They are all going to be real characters who will be sharing their stories. And it's called Who Killed the Light. So we'll be addressing everything. It's a feature documentary film, so that's what I'm working on. But if anybody wants to talk to me, you're very welcome. You can come and talk to me anytime.
Amazing. Beautiful. Nathali, thank you so much. Give my love to Arjuna as well.
Will
You guys have been awesome and you guys are doing awesome things. Have a beautiful day. And again, I know you were nervous about this. So from me, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. You too have a beautiful day, Sharon.
See you, Nathali.
See you. Take care. Bye.
I look up to Natalie a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. The way she speaks inspires me, and this is the first time we've actually had a full-on conversation about mental health. As she said, please give her some love, give her a follow, send her a message if you need to chat to her. I will share her social media at the end of today as well. But yeah, guys, I know it was quite a heavy conversation, but you guys in the comments are also commenting. Thank you so much for that as well. I'll be taking a quick 15-minute break, and I'll be coming back with Kanishka. There might be music. So after this heavy conversation, if you want to come and relax and listen to some music, come on by. Come on by and join the chat. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for the questions, and I will see you guys in 15 minutes.